So in the first part of the video, we will see how to create a Ec2 instance from scratch, and in the second part of the video, we will see how to set up a HTTP server on the instance. So first, let us go to Amazon Web Services. So just Google for it, and the very first link whichever appears, please click on that, and then go to the My Account section to click on the AWS Management Console. So log into your account with whichever level of privileges you have. I am logging in with the root privileges. Once you are in, click on All Services. Once you are here, click on Ec2 Service to view the Ec2 Dashboard. Once you are on the Ec2 Dashboard, click on Instances. Here you cannot see any instance because I have no instances running currently. Now click on the Launch Instance. To launch your Ec2 instance, this will present you with this list, which is giving you an extensive list of instance types, operating systems, Linux, Windows that you can select from. So we'll be going ahead with the Ubuntu server and Ubuntu Linux flavor, and on selecting this you will be presented with the next page, which will give you the different instance sizes to select from. So the instance sizes are synonymous to the configuration of your virtual machine, and these configurations are the CPU, number of CPU cores, the memory size, the storage time, the EBS optimized volumes, and then the network performance, like this is synonymous to the bandwidths and all of that. And the next page that you are presented with is giving you more configuration options for your VMs, like selecting the VPC, subnets and whatnot. These are some advanced level configuration items that can be that are discussed in some other videos when we are talking about VPC and networking with Amazon instances. So going forward, on the very next step, you will get option to alter the volume size. So you can use this option to alter your volume size, and just click on add tags next, and this will take you to the next page where you can add a tag to your instance. For example, I am using a key value pair with name and the instance name. So once doing that, on the next page you will be presented with security group option. Security group option is nothing but it is a rule based ingress and egress control for your instance type. So you can actually control the inbound and outbound traffic using this security group option. So either you can create a new security group or you can select from any existing security group. So for example, if I am seeing here, I have two security groups already created. So I will be selecting this security group here, and you will see that there are some predefined inbound rules already here, as you can see. So these are predefined rules. So you can see HTTP and HTTPS rules are already defined, and these are from public IPs. I mean, where all IPs are allowed from the public domain. But as you can see, for the SSH access, SSH login, console login into the instance, I am only allowing only one IP range here, and this is the IP that belongs to the ISP that I am using the internet from. So what this does is that it helps you secure your instance from external access or brute force attacks and stuff like that. So this is a very important security best practice that you should follow. You should never be using a publicly open inbound rule for your SSH access into the system. So let us check what is, if this IP is same or my ISP IP has changed. So I will go on Chrome and I'll just check for what is my IP, and it will give me what is my current ISP address. So it is 0.12, which is not matching to the IP that is there currently defined in my inbound rule, as you can see here. So this IP is not matching. So we'll change it later. But what we'll do is that we will proceed and launch our instance first, and later go back to the security group to edit this particular rule and update it to the IP that is currently with my ISP. So let's move forward. Let's go and click on the launch button, which will take me to the next step, wherein it gives me option to review all the settings. And then you will get an option to create a key for your instance. This key would be required for you to log in to your SSH console for your instance access. So you need to create this key with a key name, and then download and keep the public key safe with you for later login into your SSH console. So let's see how to do that. So provide a name for the key and then click on the download key pair, and this will download the key for you, and you need to keep it safe with you. So here it is in my downloads folder, so I will copy it to a secure location. Let me see where to copy this. I'll go to my documents, desktop, tech hub. I'll put it here for my later use. Now let's go back to the console and see the instance on my Ec2 dashboard. So here you can see that the instance is running. As you can see here, the instance state says it is running. That means the instance has successfully launched and it is ready for us to log into the instance and do the further configuration whatever we require. So the next step will be logging into this instance with the SSH key. But before that, let's look at the other details with respect to this particular instance. So we would require the IP. So you can see here the public IP has been assigned. So we will require this IP to log in using the SSH protocol. Apart from that, you can see other details here, like what private IP, what VPC and all has been assigned to this particular instance. So now let's go and check whether anything is getting served on this IP, and nothing is being served on this IP because right now the HTTP server, the instance has been launched, but there is no HTTP server running on this particular instance. But in order to install that HTTP server, which is the next step that I mentioned during the start of this video, for that configuration we would require to log in to the server console via SSH. But we have one problem here, and as we identified during the security group configuration, that the IP is not configured. So what we'll do is that we'll go in the next step to the security groups and we will modify the IP that was tagged against the inbound rule for SSH in the security group. So select the security group that was selected earlier, and you can see here that this is the IP that we need to change. So select this, go and click on edit inbound rule, and this would open it up. Cancel this earlier option and then click on this drop down and select my IP, and that would automatically capture your current IP and then save the rules. Now it is all set. You can now attempt, you can see here that the IP has been updated to your IP, and you can see here that it is 0.12 and the same has been captured here. And now we will move to see how to log in using the SSH. So now we will attempt to log in to our VM console via SSH. Now that we have updated the IP in the SSH inbound rule in the security group that has been attached to the instance, so we can attempt the login. But for the SSH login, we need quite a few details. So where to look for those details? So for that detail, what you can do is you can go to this connect option, and if you click on this connect option, you can see that the public IP and the username is being mentioned here. So this is all that you require for the SSH access, and the private key that you have already downloaded earlier. So let's navigate back to the location where we stored our SSH key. So that's the location. On that location, I will be opening a terminal, and using that terminal, we will attempt to log into the console for the instance. So let's open up this terminal. Let me adjust the window size a bit so that the contents are readable to you all. So let me zoom this up a bit. Okay, so let me zoom it further. Okay, so I think this should be readable. So let's check now whether we have the key available on this location. So yes, we can see the key. So now let's try to attempt the SSH command. So before that, we have to make sure that the key has the correct permission. So generally it is 400 that we need to provide this key the permission. If not, then the SSH will not work. So now let's copy this IP address, and we know the username is Ubuntu. So SSH -i, and you have to give the file key file, and then the username at the rate the IP of the instance. So that's the command, and once you enter, if you get this option to add the fingerprint to your host, and then you click on yes, and then we are inside of this particular VM. And that is the process of logging into the instance using a SSH command using your public key. And now we will move on to the next step, wherein we will be installing a HTTP server on our instance. So I am running a few commands to check on the folder structure and whatnot here. But we will use Apache HTTP server to be installed here. So this command, I'm just trying to check whether the HTTP server is there, Apache HTTP server is there installed on this system or not. So now we can use this command to install Apache on our instance, and this will install Apache, and then we'll do an update on our VM, and then we will again install Apache with the latest library. And you can see here that Apache is now installed. We can navigate inside /var/www to list the content, and it should show us a HTML directory there, and this directory will have a default index.html page, which if you hit on the IP should be visible to you. And we can further we can go about modifying this index.html. So first what I will do is I'll remove this index.html, and then I will create a new HTML file, and I am echoing hello world into this index.html, new index.html, and when I refresh, you will see that this content is replaced by a hello world. So this is how you create a HTTP server on a EC2 instance. Please remember that the EC2 instance alone without a HTTP server running is no good to serve your contents. So you always need a HTTP server in order to serve either your static or dynamic script files. So I have installed Apache on a Ubuntu machine, but please feel free to experiment with any other virtual machine, whether it is Windows or any other Linux flavor, with any combination of HTTP server along with that. It could be IIS, it could be Linux or any other HTTP server for your use case. So that's all for today's video. And if you do like the content, please do remember to like and subscribe. Also, please provide your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.